Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Central Florida. Unlike last episode, we have a lot of news to cover, a lot of Disney updates, including updates about the nighttime spectaculars, ride opening dates, park reservation updates, and more. Also got some out-of-state Universal news, a quick update on Top Thrill Dragster, and we're also going to discuss our top 10 favorite Disney World rides. My name's Tommy. The other host is Tristan. How you doing?
Howdy, howdy. I'm doing well. Very nice to be here. Yes, you are correct. We didn't have much news last week, so we just talked about Roller Coaster Tycoon like a couple of little kids.
Yes.
But we have a lot of news, and one of the last news things we have today, my T-shirt here, my Las Vegas T-shirt is a little bit of a teaser of where this theme park news happens to be.
Ooh, I'm very much looking forward to talking to that. Before we get on to the Disney updates, last episode I did talk about a rumor regarding Top Thrill Dragster. A couple days later, on January 9th, Cedar Point released a teaser, 20 years to the day that they officially announced the first iteration of Top Thrill Dragster. It was a teaser with drone shots of the big top hat of Top Thrill Dragster, a tagline that was a new formula for thrills, and opening 2024. On the website, they no longer have Top Thrill Dragster, just a black and white photo of the top hat, and it says 2024 coaster. With the new tagline, some people might speculate that it's going to be a Formula One theme versus the old drag racing theme. Basically just another racing theme. But we're going to find more about that later. Tristan, unless you have anything to add to that, want to jump into the Disney news?
Why would they make a roller coaster about baby formula?
I have no idea. We do have a formula shortage. That's very poor timing. Or do we still have a formula shortage? I don't even remember.
I've
But
been
okay,
eating it every day.
Disney. So many things. They announced so many things. Um, in April alone, Enchantment and Harmonious, your last chance to see them, are on April 2nd. On April 3rd, we're getting back Happily Ever After, and most importantly, Epcot Forever.
Yeah, it seems like Bob Iger came back and basically said, all right, we'll give you what you want.
Pretty much. And Epcot Forever was definitely one of those things. Genuinely, I actually love Epcot Forever, though, so I'm pretty excited about that. One of the things regarding that, though, because Epcot is supposed to get like a special Disney 100th, like of the company fireworks show. And while they're doing Epcot Forever, they're going to be dismantling the Harmonious barges. So the big taco shells, the big Stargate portal that some people have complained about being in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon, they're going away.
I am shocked. They
Yeah.
cost millions and millions of dollars. Like I remember that being a prominent news point was how expensive those barges really were. So I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah, and I was a really big fan of the Harmonia show. Like, I've really I just kind of love every nighttime spectacular that goes into Epcot. But like with the music and everything, I thought Harmonious was really awesome. But honestly, like I won't be too upset about seeing Epcot Forever again. Like I thought it was a great show. I know it's not the most popular. I loved it, and then I'm excited to see what they're gonna do after that. But really, most importantly, Happily Ever After, so happy that's coming back. Um, like I think Enchantment was one show that a lot of people had not the best thoughts about, and I actually went to the Kingdom this past week to watch Enchantment again. I actually haven't seen it since a few months ago. They added an intro that had like projections and audio from Walter Elias Disney and like kind of a brief history of the park. It was honestly like an Epcot Forever for the Magic Kingdom, and I have no idea why the 50th show wasn't a 20-minute version of that, because just that part of the show I thought was amazing. And I would have loved to have seen a longer version of that. Um, like it honestly made Enchantment itself a little bit better, but I will be so happy when Happily Ever After returns.
Yes, me as well. Boy, I missed it dearly. It wasn't here quite long enough. So I'm with
Yeah,
everyone else. I'm just glad
exactly.
it's coming back.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. And then also more April news. April 4th, Tron We finally have a date, April 4th, which means in about a month or so, cast members are going to be able to ride it. Pass holders are going to get it to start riding it. It it's happening.
Wow, man, it's
It
kind of
it
hard to
is
believe.
happening.
It's kind of
Yeah,
hard to believe
it
it's been so long. That ride was originally supposed to open by the 50th. I know that.
yeah.
Um,
And now
which
it's
was
opening after the 50th ends.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Love that.
but man, super excited, super excited. It
Yep.
looks like it's going to be an awesome coaster. Um, Glad to add that sort of energy into Tomorrowland. Being able to look over there and see that cool nighttime, very pretty roller coaster going.
Yeah.
Um, I always Tomorrowland at night's already like probably my
Hmm.
favorite land in a Disney
Yeah.
park. Just got all the kinetic, all the stuff going by. You got the Astro Orbiter,
Yeah.
you got the People Mover, you got the sounds, and then to have Tron off in the distance doing its
Yes.
thing, it's gonna be awesome.
That's yeah, yeah, no, I agree. Tomorrowland has always been one of my favorite lands of the kingdom, so then getting this extra little juice. And like I've never it's so weird to me seeing roller coaster beams like that in a Disney park and then like plus a ride where lockers are gonna be required. It's so different, but like I'm all for it. Like it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for that ride.
Isn't that one of the new? Were was the lockers just a new announcement, like a new um thing, or did we know about that?
It was a newer announcement. Like I don't think it was known until like, probably the past month or two, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I think they have that same I think they have a locker system in Shanghai.
Oh yeah,
Um and there's other like Universal has it, but this is the first time that a Disney park in the States is going to utilize a system like this. So I'm very curious to see how it's going to work out because I feel like a lot of Disney guests like get really stressed out and confused about everything. So like hopefully Disney World guests make out okay with it.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to see. Yeah, hopefully they make out on it. Overall, super excited. I wonder what the lock. This just occurred to me now. The locker is going to be just like one size lockers, because I feel like people bring more things to Disney parks than they do to Universal.
Yeah.
I feel like people bring gigantic backpacks to Disney.
Yeah. I know that you'll be able to get it like, with your Magic Band or park ticket, like so, you'll just scan it or whatever. And I'm assuming it's pretty much going to be like a no loose article thing. Like, I'm sure like, your phones will be allowed in your pockets. I don't think it's going to be a metal detector thing. I think it's just going to be like, kind of more of like a Hagrid's thing where like, you can't bring like a backpack or a water bottle into the queue or whatever. So,
Yeah, very cool.
yeah. And then other Disney news, these do not have any exact date yet. An update to the park reservation system for annual pass holders. Sometime soon, annual pass holders will no longer need park reservations after 2 p.m., with the exception of the Magic Kingdom on Saturdays and Sundays. Tristan,
Mm,
what are your thoughts?
a lot of thoughts. Obviously, I believe everyone's thinking that this is the first step towards just getting rid of
Yeah.
the reservation. Maybe it's kind of a trial to see like how it goes.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Um, so I guess that's my biggest thing is I'm interested to see what comes next and how quickly something might
Yeah.
come next. Basically, I want to know how long it's going to take before park reservations are completely gone because I don't believe they're necessary anymore.
Yeah. I really don't think they are either. I really do not see the point in them. And I know like that's kind of been a point of contention for a lot of people, like just the reservation system being like kind of just stressful and annoying. So the fact that, they're letting annual pass holders and making it a little bit looser for them, that's going to be a really big benefit. And it'll start like kind of winning some brownie points back for Disney. And, I really hope they just kind of keep I'm curious what you said to see how quickly they'll start to undo reservations with this if let's whether a trial period like you said. But speaking of Disney giving back, free resort parking is now a thing again for resort guests. Like, or not an exact date yet, but they said that that's coming back. You know, resort guests will no longer have to pay for parking.
That one I think was actually immediate.
Oh, what? Oh, it was immediate.
The thing I believe the
Oh,
thing I saw was like whenever I forget what day it was, but it was like effective tonight. Um,
yeah.
no more resort park, which I don't know why we even had that to begin with at
Nickel and
Disney.
dime.
Like what you got Disney guests paying however much money they're
Yeah.
paying to stay at a Disney resort. You can't give them free
Yeah, I
parking.
know. And it's like Iger was the CEO when that happened, but Chapek was the head of Parks and Resorts. So it's like a little sussy.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just part of a larger big picture type of thing. Like maybe the executives of Disney were just trying to do a bunch of things all in succession to say like, hey, we're making it back to how you guys want. We're listening to the guests.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just one of many things that they're doing to try to get that public image back. Because it's been so negative lately.
Yeah. And it's so weird because like that is like, having to pay for resort parking is like definitely a more negative thing, but I feel like that hasn't been nearly at the forefront of like things people have been complaining about recently. So this is just kind of like a little cherry on top, like a little like here's a little like present for you. Pretty exciting. And then speaking of presents, Disney World's Genie Plus at some point soon is going to start including ride photo pass downloads for the day. I think that is very cool. Over in Disneyland, they get all PhotoPass downloads, and like that was the thing with Max Pass before Genie Plus over there. So the fact that we're getting ride photo downloads here in Florida with our Genie Plus, I think that is a wonderful addition that will make it a lot more worth it. Lots of complaints about the Genie Plus system itself, but honestly, I think people might get it just for the ride downloads, like the because like photo downloads themselves are like $14. So like if there's a day where Genie Plus is only like $17, even when it is $29, that's two ride photos. So just ride several rides and you've already paid for it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, there's two ways to think about it. There's well, people want this Genie Plus to be gone
Yeah,
because
exactly.
people hate it all. So really giving people photo pass downloads for rides only for the day of purchase only is kind of like, well, that's not really what we want. But then like you just
Yeah,
said, the dollar value that guests are getting back from this will add up and will make it worth
yeah,
it if you think about it from that perspective. My only thing is I don't think a lot of people care about ride photos that much.
that's fair.
So it might be one of those flashy things that might convince people in the moment, oh, look, we get extra value from these photos. Let's do it.
Yeah,
When in reality, I think most people could care less about ride photos. They're fun to see at the end of the ride.
yeah, that is true. That is true. They'll make for good social media posts for sure since you can just download them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like I have my thoughts about Genie Plus in general without this. I think my biggest complaint about Genie Plus is just how convoluted the system is. Like a part of me thinks that like you need maybe reservation times because of just how crowded Disney gets, so they have to organize the crowds that way. But I'm also, you know, I feel like I've said my thoughts about it on this show before, haven't I? Yeah. So
Probably.
yeah, I
Yeah.
probably have. I talk about it all the time with things. So what are your guys' thoughts on all these new Disney updates? They just kind of bam, bam, bam very recently. I'm excited to see where it all goes.
Yes, indeed. It has just kind of been bam, 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 hasn't it? And it's kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't really expecting
Yeah,
much news. There's no D23 going on. There's no Destination D. There's no
yeah.
IAP or whatever you guys call it. But
Yeah, it's like like what, 2 months ago or whatever was when Bob Iger had the town hall and said that he would leave like kind of more parks related decisions to Josh Tomorrow. So like these could be Josh Tomorrow related decisions too. It like I know a lot of like longtime cast members love Josh Tomorrow, and I feel like there's like mainly since the Chapek era, like since when Chapek was CEO, when things about the parks are going wrong, most people were blaming Bob Chapek rightfully, but some people are going like, wait, Josh Tomorrow's the head of parks right now, and he's also in the same position that Chapek was in when certain decisions were being made. But, if we're starting to slowly see improvements like this, maybe Josh is the angel that we all think he is.
it's one of those things that
Yeah.
makes it's interesting to see how the
Yeah.
general public can be so quick to just blame the person at the
Yeah.
top without even thinking, because anybody who is like us and is involved in the theme parks will know that Josh Tomorrow was um, oversaw more of parks than Chapek
Yeah.
did, even though Chapek was in charge of the company. Um, it's important, folks, to keep your heads on straight. when
Mhm.
complaining about things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times you just jump straight to the top and start making these gigantic um, statements about, oh, this company, blah, blah, blah. I see it, when we do our pass holder Karen of the week segments, when I'm reading
Mhm.
Yelp,
Yeah.
I see it all the time. The magic is gone.
Yeah.
People have been saying the magic's gone probably for 50 years. So
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
not in a new
Yeah.
in a new place here.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Anywho, Disney was not the only company making random gigantic announcements, was it, Tommy? Because we
No.
got some fun nuggets out of Universal today as of recording this. We are
Let
recording
me add
this
them.
biscuit, huh? You want to add?
No, no, no. Give it to me. Give me the universal news.
I'm gonna give you the spicy nuggets here.
Give me the juice.
Today is January 11th, and they announced today that Universal is opening a theme park in Frisco, Texas. Okay,
Wow.
let that
Yeah.
sink in.
Yeah.
Universal just randomly announces a park in Texas,
Yeah.
suburb
Wh-
of Dallas. Just I think it's about 40 minutes north of Dallas, maybe 30
What the
minutes.
heck?
Wow,
What? Yeah.
that's a big old thing. I mean,
Yeah.
anyway, so more details on this. This is actually directly from their Facebook, I think. The new park concept, set in a lush green landscape and featuring immersive themed lands, celebrates Universal's iconic brand of entertainment, humor, and innovation, and brings to life its beloved characters and stories in ways that will wow even the youngest theme park goers. Another detail, so that was a quote directly. And then
Mm.
another detail that I believe was in the announcement was that it's going to be about a quarter the size of the Orlando Universal Parks, and there will be one 300-room hotel on the property.
Wow. So just plop in a mini theme park resort in Texas. They're heavily doing into Epic Universe right now too. So they're just surprise. That's amazing. Wow.
It with the announcement just coming out today, I'm still trying to get my head around all of it because
Mm.
you're in a suburb of Dallas, which is one of the most major US cities, but you're building a park that's a quarter of the size of the Orlando park with only one 300-room hotel.
Yeah.
So like how popular do they expect this to be?
Um,
It's probably
yeah.
I can imagine it's only going to serve people in the Dallas area because I cannot see people
Yeah.
flying into Dallas to go to this park that's legitimately made for children.
I don't see this as like a major destination park to visit. Like this will be more of a, like you said, kind of a locals, like, maybe people from like Oklahoma, like some of the bordering states might, drive down for a cute little family trip or whatever. Or people who might be doing a Texas theme park road trip might throw it in for the heck of it.
Yeah.
Um, so very
Well,
interesting. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. I guess I'm going to have another theme park to include on my future Texas theme park road trip if when I ever take it.
that's what I was just about to ask Tommy. I was about to say, Tommy, you're a theme park moron. Did you just buy a
Yeah.
plane ticket to Dallas?
No, not yet. It's like, see, I was gonna wait for Codaland to finish Palindrome and their Vekoma tilt coaster before planning on a Texas theme park trip. And now there's this Universal Kids Park that I might end up having to go to. So, granted, that's probably I don't know when that's gonna be ready, but
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, with it just being announced today, heck, it could be 5 years from now. Who knows? But
yeah,
um, so that was one big
still
old
faster than Tron.
yeah. Oh, it makes my head hurt.
R.I.P.
But the other piece that Universal gave out is kind of just as odd because it's also out of state. And this is a year-round Halloween Horror Nights experience going to Las
Ooh,
Vegas.
what are the deets on that? Do they like? I'm so curious.
We don't have details specifically on what it's going to be, kind of like the scope of it. Universal was nice enough to give us the scope of this kids park, kind of with a
Mhm.
rough size estimate. But they didn't really do this from what I saw with this Vegas Halloween Horror Nights thing. I can tell you that they announced that it's going to Area 15, which is this kind of new experience that's just off the Vegas Strip. It's about a mile off the Vegas Strip. I've never
Mhm.
been there, specifically to this place. I've been to Vegas 5 times. But this Area 15 thing is kind of an experiential art gallery,
Hmm.
shopping, dining thing, but it's very, very obscure. One of their key attractions is called Omega Mart, and it's the best way I can describe it is like kind of an art gallery, but also a store with fun
Huh.
things for purchase. But it's designed like a supermarket,
Interesting.
like a big supermarket. You'll have to look it up, man. It's so weird.
Interesting.
And then they
Yeah, very
also,
weird, very interesting announcement.
mhm. Also, just to kind of put in perspective the bigger scope of where this is specifically going in Vegas, the same place has a distillery. I forget the name of the distillery, but people have described it as like a Willy Wonka chocolate factory for adults. You go in all these different rooms, and they're all really weird, like
Hmm.
straight out of Willy Wonka, except you get
Interesting.
alcohol. You know, and it's a
Yeah.
distillery.
I'm
Um,
yeah, no, I'm just very curious how this Horror Nights type of experience is gonna work because y'all know me, I love Halloween Horror Nights. Um, so having a year-round version of that in Vegas, but it's like they're not very clear on what that experience is. Like, is there gonna be like, they're gonna do different houses? Are they gonna bring like shows like Nightmare Fuel? Because I feel like Nightmare Fuel would be a good show for Vegas. Um, so cool.
what I can tell you, and I'll look it up right now, is that it's going into a space. Um, that isn't the largest space. And you have to keep in mind that this Horror Nights thing is only going to be a fraction of the space because there's all these other experiences there. Um, so let me click on the article here because I believe it said the square footage of the actual um,
Hmm.
place. Okay. Universal says the horror experience will be the anchor tenant in a new 20-acre expansion of Las Vegas
Hmm.
Area 15. So it's part of an expansion. I did not know that. Um,
Okay.
says the attraction will occupy 110,000 square foot space. So, having said that, this probably is going to have several houses if they do follow the house format, um,
Wow.
which is pretty crazy. Do you
Yeah.
have any other thoughts on that, Tommy?
I mean, I'm just kind of curious what they're going to do with the houses, like how often they're going to rotate them, like what they're going to do is it going to be more originals, are they going to use different IPs, a little bit of both. That's that's so cool. Like if I ever go to Vegas, that's just another thing for me to do.
I think a Vegas trip is in your future now, Tommy, because I mean I could go on. I'm a Vegas enthusiast, so
Yeah,
I could go on about all the fun things there, but they do have the roller coaster
they do.
in Vegas. They have a roller
Which,
coaster there. It's I forget what it's called, but it's at the New York Hotel. It's not a
because I feel like that one's been like closed or something. I feel like,
no, it's open. I rode it a couple years ago.
okay, cool.
Roller coaster Vegas.
'Cause-
But there's a couple other rides there too. So there's a Stratosphere building that
Oh,
kind of looks like
The
the
Stratus Tower, yes.
they got two
That's been
rides.
on a bucket list for me.
Yep. Oh, the
Um,
Big Apple
yeah,
coaster.
like it's Vegas has been like on my radar, but like it hasn't been at the forefront of places I've been trying to go to. Like I know I don't think I've really mentioned on this podcast, but I'm a wrestling fan and I know there's a wrestling promotion that usually does a big show out of there every year. Um their Double or Nothing show. Um and then the random, Stratosphere Tower and other roller coaster maybe. But that Vegas will be in my future at some point.
Since we're on the
And
topic of
I'll
it, I'll read you the stats of this coaster. It's called the Big Apple coaster. Opened in
okay, yep.
'97. It is the only roller coaster by Japanese roller coaster manufacturer Togo, still operating in
Togo,
North
yep,
America.
yeah.
Um, Ride trails on a 4,777-foot track, contains a 180-foot lift hill and a 76-foot drop, followed by a hill and another 144-foot drop. Two inversions, a standard vertical loop, and a dive loop.
Oh wow.
So I mean, it's nowhere near the most intense coaster
Okay.
you've ever been on.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll make your top 100.
Maybe it might. There's some other roller coaster in Vegas I was thinking of, like a Buffalo Bills something. Does that sound familiar to you? Like
Yeah,
that
something
resort?
just it just reopened.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten many of the details on it.
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills Vegas,
Because
but
like I think they have a roller coaster there that's like very rarely open or something. I think it might be a hyper coaster too.
why am I here, Tommy? If you already know everything. Hmm.
I'm just like you're my fact checker. I like I'm like, am I getting this right? I
I
watch
do.
way too many roller coaster YouTube things.
Let's see. I do got the Googs open here.
Heck yeah.
Desperado
Desperado, yeah.
steel roller coaster located at the Buffalo Bills Hotel and Casino in Prim,
Yeah.
Nevada. I don't know how close
Okay.
that is to the Las Vegas Strip.
Okay.
Um, Designed by Aerodynamics, it was once one of the tallest roller coasters in the world when it opened in '94. Listed as Guinness Book of Records as the world's tallest coaster in '96. 209 feet tall, 225-foot drop, seventh longest coaster in the world with a track length of 500,
Oh,
5,000. How did I not know about this? It seems like a pretty significant coaster.
right.
Let me just tell you right now though how far away it is from the strip because that'll be
Okay.
important in a trip to Vegas. I don't know. It doesn't say.
Okay.
But while I'm looking that
Okay.
up, if you want to hop on into this next exciting discussion, which I'm very
Um,
excited for.
yeah, I'm very excited for this discussion too. So we decided for this show, this episode, we're going to each individually rank our top 10 Disney World attractions. I don't know about Tristan. This was a very hard list for me to make. I know right off the bat I had like at least 20 rides. So I'm like, great, now I have to narrow this down. And then after I even narrow this down, I have to like rank them. I think Tristan said that he already has random top 10 lists. So did you already had this ready before this episode, didn't you?
I did, but with a caveat, but I'll get to that
With
when
the
I get to
caveat,
it.
you'll get to it when you get to it. Um, Let's see. Because I feel like we should go back and forth on our lists, but you're also still looking up your thing right now.
No, no, yeah,
Oh,
but
you got it?
I got it
Cool.
here. Prim, Nevada is about 37 minutes south of the Las Vegas Strip,
Okay, so not too
which
far
isn't
then.
bad. I mean, that could be an Uber ride. It'll be an expensive Uber ride, but
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
anywho, so yeah, we can hop back and forth on this. Do you
All
should we
right.
stop at 10 or should we start at 1?
Oh, we gotta go from like, the last one should be your number one.
10-4.
All right. So,
You want me to kick us off?
all right, kick us off, Tristiano.
The caveat before we hop into it is that this list is a couple years old, so all of the new things that we've gotten aren't
Okay.
on it.
Oh, okay.
But there's a reason that I didn't add them before this episode is because I'm not comfortable bumping these 10 right now, like
Yeah,
possibly putting
that's valid.
Guardians. I'm going to have to warm up to
Yeah.
these new rides before I can bump any
Yeah.
of these off, which I'll just hop in. Number 10 would be the first one to get bumped off, the Jungle Cruise.
The jungle. Ooh,
Yep.
nice. That's a good
Yep.
one.
So another precursor to this on my end of things is that I really like the classics.
Hmm.
That's definitely the yin and the yang of Tommy and me is that
Yeah.
Tommy's roller coaster boy. I'm more of the classic Disney dark ride type of guy.
Mhm.
So yeah, Jungle Cruise, man, it is arguably the most classic. It's not the most classic, but I would argue it. um,
Yeah. It is
Super
very
fun, super
classic.
funny. You know, you can't go wrong with it.
Yeah. Well, Tristan, I am a coaster enthusiast, but I have a very big soft spot for the Disney dark rides. And
Mm,
my number 10 spot is Pirates of the Caribbean.
wow.
I love that ride. I mean, it's one of my favorite rides in the kingdom. Grew up with fond memories of it going on it with my family. Love the smells, the first drop, and if you're in Disneyland, how there's two drops. Absolutely love it. I think I liked it a little bit better before Jack Sparrow. But aside from that, one of my favorite rides. That's my number 10.
I concur. I will touch on that later. My number
Ooh.
9, TTA People Mover.
Ooh. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
TTA People Mover.
Like I said earlier in the episode, my favorite land in Disney World is Tomorrowland at night. Um, it's just joy, especially on a night with great
Nice.
weather
Ooh.
where it's just perfect t-shirt weather,
Yeah.
but not hot, maybe a little warm.
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
you taking all the sights and the sounds, man, and you get all the sights
Yeah.
and sound. You get to see
Oh
Main
my
Street, you
God.
get to see the castle, you get to see the road that goes into the heart of Tomorrowland. You get to go around that hub,
Hmm.
all those sorts of things. So definitely TTA
Views
People
of the
Mover.
castle. Um, all right. My number 9 is Expedition Everest. Really great roller coaster. Just the mountain is so cool. The theming, it's like surprising. Like I feel like I always forget how thrilling it is until I go on it. It's one of the best coasters in Disney World. Really great.
I concur. I will touch on that later.
Yeah.
My number 8, Living with the Land.
Hey yo.
Hopping on over to Epcot there. Living with the Land might be my favorite ride in Epcot. Like
Honestly, that's valid.
it's just it's got two great
Yeah.
things. It's got the first half, which is a classic Disney dark ride.
Mhm.
You go through the scenes, you smell the water, it's just nice and relaxing and calm. And you look up and see the restaurant, and that's really cool. But then you go through the
Mm.
greenhouses and it shifts
Yeah.
gears, and now you're in an educational environment. Very
Yeah.
bright, very pretty. You get to see actual produce being grown that gets eaten
Yeah.
in the park. It just feels very cool.
Yeah. It is very, very cool. And then like plus their holiday overlay. Yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
gonna touch on that one later. Which speaking of things I'm gonna touch on later that on your list. My number 8 is the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. Love the People Mover. Really wish I could have rated it higher, but there's 7 other rides, and this is a hard list to make, like I said.
Yep, definitely. I hear you. Number 7, a ride that I was supposed to ride today, but will now be riding tomorrow morning in 12 hours. Walt Disney World Railroad.
Hey yo. Heck yeah.
Now, our listeners definitely know that I've probably talked about it on every single episode of this show. Um, it has been gone for 4 years, 5 years, 4 years,
Yeah.
4 years. And it just finally came back, and I am itching to get back on that. It's so calm, it's
Yeah.
so relaxing. I've always liked trains growing up,
Hmm.
and really excited to be on it again.
Yeah. I can't wait to finally go on it myself. I was supposed to go on it yesterday, but missed out on it because of other reasons, but I'm gonna try to get to it as soon as I can. For me, my number 7 is Flight of Passage over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Really, really cool ride. Like the first time you ride it, it like immediately becomes one of your favorites. It's like Soarin', but a little bit more thrilling. Plus, like the Avatar theming. I remember I wrote it before I even ever got into the Avatar movies, and now that I actually started watching them and actually like them, which for some reason I was surprised that I was going to like them, it just makes me like the ride even more. And the land. It's an amazing ride. Like I will happily wait over an hour for it every time, even an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours if I'm in the mood. But like there's a reason that it is that long.
I'm right there with you with the waiting. However, I do have to say this is the first thing on your list that's not on mine.
Ooh,
Um, which I mean, it's totally possible that it would have been my number 11. But here's the thing: I am not
yeah,
comfortable bumping Jungle Cruise out of my top 10,
yeah. No, that's
but Flight
very
of
valid.
Passage. So
Like before I get to my number 1, I'm gonna mention some honorable mentions that I was really upset that couldn't be in my top 10, but there's just only so much room you can have.
I know.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll hop on to my number 6, which is the Tower of Terror.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh.
So here, in terms of thrill and theming, it's an A.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't say it's an A plus. It's an A.
Yeah.
Very close to an A plus. It's a 99%. But
Yeah.
love the Tower of Terror. Love everything about it.
Yeah. I love the Tower Terror as well. My number 6, the Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros. I
Wow.
absolutely love that ride. I will die on that hill. Um, to all my people that want to say that it needs to be rethemed to Coco, Coco is my favorite Pixar movie, and I'd love a Coco ride, but do not touch my Three Caballeros because in that you're not going to have a big enough queue for a Coco ride.
That's
But it
true.
is perfectly big enough for my Caballeros.
It's a good point.
It is so cute. It's so relaxing. It's in one of the prettiest pavilions in Epcot.
Yeah, can you
My
imagine if
boys.
they destroyed the inside of that pavilion by making the whole
God,
thing a queue for a ride?
no.
No, no.
R.I.P.
Alrighty, cool. My number 5, Spaceship Earth.
Ooh,
hmm That is
yeah,
that is the epitome of a classic right there.
yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of similar right there, where it is a classic Disney dark ride, but with a optimistic look at the future.
Yeah,
The future is naturally something a lot of people are scared of, but you go on Spaceship Earth and
yeah.
everything's going to be okay.
You know, spoiler alert, Spaceship Earth was going to be an honorable mention for me. That one pained me to not include in this list. Like, I was so sad that I couldn't fit that on my list because I love that ride. I just love the park icon and I love Epcot, but there's just only so many rides I could fit on this list. My number 5 is Splash Mountain. I got to say goodbye to this yesterday. Now I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, they're changing the theme. Like, I'm very excited for the retheme, and I'm really hoping they do it justice. One of the things I love about this that it really combines classic Disney dark ride. It really is a classic Disney dark ride but with some thrilling drops as well. Like it is such a perfect combination. It's a long ride, really, really cool, and I'm excited for its future. I had to include it. It's definitely my favorite mountain in the Magic Kingdom.
The only thing that probably kept it off my list is getting wet.
Yeah, that's very valid. Especially when I went last night and it was kind of chilly. That kind of was not very fun.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love the ride. It's great.
All right.
Sploosh.
My number four, Expedition Everest.
Hey yo.
Yes. In terms of the thrill, like you said, I'm always surprised at how thrilling it is when I get on that because I feel like I know that ride, ridden it a million
Mhm.
times. But then when it goes backwards and you're in the mountain in the dark, it throws me for a loop every time. Not a literal
Yeah.
loop. I don't believe it's actually a loop, but
No, it is not. It
but
does
it
feel
almost
like
feels
it.
like it. Yeah.
It really does.
So yeah, that's my numero quattro. Yeah.
My numero quattro is Carousel of Progress. Now, this one is a little bit more of a show, but I mean, you are on a moving thing, so I'm counting it as a ride. It is just such a, it's just such a wholesome, just such a classic. I really adore it. Just like, man, it only takes us 5 hours to do laundry now. Things just can't get any better. And it's just like, oh man, but
Mm.
they can. Yeah, it's so great. I love you, Daddy John.
Hmm.
Number
Hmm.
four, Carousel of Progress.
Right. My number three. We're getting into the real classics here.
Oh yeah.
Haunted Mansion.
Oh man,
I don't
Haunted
even.
Mansion.
I'm not even. We only have 2.5 minutes left in this thing. I don't even have to comment on it. Everyone already
Yep.
knows. It's just so good.
Yeah.
It's an original story. It's a great dark ride. It's
Hmm.
old as dirt, but it's still awesome.
Yeah. That it pained me not to include that one on my top 10, but yeah,
Oh,
I agree. But my number three is one you already said, Living with the Land.
yep. You
What
got
more
it.
needs to be said?
Hmm. My number two, Rock and Roller Coaster.
Ooh,
Yep.
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep.
Nice.
Because I'm a big rock fan. I've always been
Yeah.
into the rock, hard rock. That's been my thing for pretty much my whole life. I play guitar, so I'm in that
Mhm.
scene a lot. And so between Aerosmith and the really awesome thrilling roller coaster, yeah, rock and roller coaster.
My number two is also a roller coaster, Cosmic Rewind.
Ooh, my
Yeah.
number
Uh,
two.
yeah, it's my number two. Honestly, that ride leaves me with the dumbest smile on my face. I love the story, how it's Epcot at heart. It's so long, it's so smooth, and the music just makes it so fun. Love, love, love this ride. Honestly, I think the one thing that kept it from being my number one is the Big Blue show building.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for that show building, it would probably be my number one. But because they couldn't not do that, and sightlines Disney had to not be my number one just because of that.
All right. Speaking of number one, here we are.
Oh boy.
When you told me you're number 10, I was like, oh boy, my number
Oh,
one, Pirates of the Caribbean.
oh man.
That is the most classic
Yeah,
attraction right
I,
there.
I would agree. Honestly, I really wish it was almost my number one. Like this list was very hard to rank, but yeah,
Mhm.
very valid.
All right, Tommy,
My
what is
number.
it?
All right, so a couple other honorable mentions: Rock and Roller Coaster. I really wish I could have included that. Kilimanjaro Safari, Dinosaur, Space Mountain. I think I already mentioned the other honorable mentions. So my number one is the only ride from Disney's Hollywood Studios on this list. I probably shouldn't have said Rock and Roller Coaster was an honorable mention. Spoiler alert. Tower of Terror is my number one. Ultimate combinations of thrills and theming at Disney World. And it's just such a great classic ride. I absolutely love it.
I'm right there with you. Talk
All
us out.
right. Thank you guys so much for listening to Please Remain Seated. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate us 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, Zoom's out to kick us out. Tristan, say something. I don't know. I love you
YouTube.
all. Yes, thanks.
Bye.
Ah.